A warm welcome to you. This is Platform. I'm Ruth Aguele. You know, Nigeria's return to democratic rule in 1999. Over time, we have seen leaders in the state champion effective reforms in key sectors through the creation of special technocratic enclaves aimed at rewarding good performance and promote a sense of professionalism. Now, Lagos State is not just the only state. We're talking about the 36th state and the FCT, but our spotlight is on Lagos, and you find out why. And you know, only good governance can pave way to prosperity, which is why elections are there for the electorate to decide who takes charge of affairs of governance in a state. Because, of course, you know, the politics is getting heated. Primaries of political parties everywhere across the country are getting closer, and aspirants are doing all they can to prove they are worthy of the trust of the public. Internal democracy will be put to test as political parties prepare to conduct their primaries to select candidates for the 2023 general elections. Oluwo Olawale Wasiu is one of the aspirants vying for the #1 position in Lagos State. Now, our focus on Platform today is the APC and the challenge to retain power. You're welcome to Platform.
Thank you very much, Ruth. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure having you here. So let's take you through the profile of the man who is vying for that position. Oluwo Olawale Wasiu started his educational career in 1972 at Okemeta Memorial Primary School in Lagos. He obtained his O-level in 1983 at the Lagos City College, Yaba, before proceeding to the Lagos State Polytechnic, Isolo, for his higher school certificate advanced level, which he got in 1985. He obtained his Bachelor of Science degree in Economics in 1989. Oluwo is a renowned banker. During his sojourn around the banking sector, he made major contributions to the banking sector. He handled merger of various banks. You'll be amazed when you find out which banks. Oluwo is a board member of several companies. He's a member of various professional bodies, including Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, amongst others. Between 2015 and 2018, he served as Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources in Lagos State. He was Board Chairman, Ekpe Metals Industries Limited, Board Member, Ibile Oil and Gas Limited, Chairman, Lagos State Exco Sports Reform Committee, Chairman, Lagos State Power Sector Reform Committee, Member, Joint Federal Government and Lagos State Implementation Committee on Lagos-Ibadan Railway. He has headed various corporate organizations in banking and finance, Chief Executive Officer of different firms. He's been CEO at different firms, Deputy Governorship candidate, ANPP running mate to Senator Tokumbo Afikuyomi. That was in 2007 election. Mobilization Team Action Congress of Nigeria Support Group, Ekpe. That was in 2007. Chairman Finance Committee Action Congress of Nigeria 2011 elections. Member Strategy Committee Action Congress of Nigeria 2011 elections in Ekpe. That was in 2011, yes. So much, but let's leave it at this point. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank
you know the tradition of Platform, we have a panelist, Salihu Gwanara, the political man for NTA. Salihu, thank you very much for joining us on Platform.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Always a pleasure. Mr. Wasiu.
Mr. Wale.
Okay, Mr. Wale, if that's what you want to be called. APC, we're talking Lagos politics, APC, and the challenge, you know, to retain power. But the focus is on you because you're vying for the #1 position in
Correct.
Lagos State. I know you've had this question many times since the day you made that decision that you want to run for this office. Why are you going for that?
Okay, let me start by saying that on my own,
Okay.
I made myself available to serve the people of Lagos State since 2006 January.
That's a long time.
Yes, a long time. That was when I joined the political process. It was a deliberate decision.
Okay.
That having attained a level at the private sector, having been executive director, managing directors, and I'd reached the height of my career in the private sector, I thought it was time to serve my state. So I made myself available in 2006. I joined the political party, and I tried to go to the House of Reps.
Even while you were in the private sector, and when you made that decision in 2006, you were more involved in the private sector, more of the corporate world.
Yes.
So what's different, you know, for you if you have to delve into the public sector, you know, dating back from 2006 till now? What have you garnered, talking about experience, that you want to put out there for Lagosians to see that, yes, you're capable to be on both sides?
Let me put it this way. When you're in the private sector, there is this work ethics that you are exposed to. The ethics of getting your targets, no matter the obstacle. And I think that is also relevant in the public sector, because it's about abolishing obstacles and making sure you follow a process, that's the due process, in order to deliver on your objectives. Now, for us, for me, I believe they say public service is different from the private sector. They're not. They're not. It's all about managing resources that has been put in your care, human capital resources, financial resources, and the rest, and combining them and having a team that can work with you to make sure you can deliver on your objective. And what are the objectives anyway? Is to make lives difficult for the people. I mean, makes life easy for the people. And
I was wondering. I was wondering.
No,
that was
don't
a
mind
slip,
me.
actually.
Don't
Go
mind
ahead.
me. Is to make life easy for the people and to make sure there's security of lives and property. That's what the Constitution says.
Yes.
Security of lives and property, welfare of the people. And I will go further on that.
Okay.
You see, when people hear security of lives and property, it will be curious to say, why would the Constitution just mention two things? But security of lives and property is deeper.
Yes.
Look, if you don't have good education, you are going to produce bad doctors or incompetent doctors that will endanger the security of lives of the people.
Yes.
If you don't make sure that the buildings follow the due process and there is necessary approvals, all these building collapses that you are seeing impacts on the lives of the people. And almost every facet of life impacts on the life of the people. So when you hear security of lives and property, it means everything.
Yes. Gwanara?
Yes.
Coming.
Very interesting. 16 years of political experience. And as a stakeholder in Lagos politics, I just want you to kind of assess the main pre-election process you are actively involved in now, so far by your party.
No, take the question again.
Yes, I mean the pre-election process that we are into.
Let me put it this way.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the reason you are even in Abuja.
Yes. We are still going through two processes before the election proper. There's the process of the Congress, which will happen next weekend, and then we move from there to the primary election. So for us, we are ready for the primary election. We have our group, the AMCO group, Akinwumi Ambode Campaign Organization. You know, that's the former governor of Lagos State. So we are one group, and I guess the other group is the group of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So these two groups are going to go to the primary election to contest. We are not enemies. We are adversaries. All of us are members of the same party under President Muhammadu Buhari, and we'll make sure that those processes are conducted in a very peaceful and orderly manner.
So, I mean, as now being carried out by the leadership of your party at national level and even back in Lagos State, AMCO, Ambode Campaign Organization, that group, what is your assessment of the process as being handled by the party as at this point?
As at this point, at the national level, we have absolute confidence in the leadership of former Governor Abdullahi Adamu that he will ensure a level playing field for all.
Okay.
We have no doubt in our minds about that.
So how those Lagosians receive the group in view of the already existing established interest? There's an incumbent governor who is also vying for the position.
Yes, what we are talking about is established interest.
Yes.
But that interest, is it in the interest of the people? The majority of Lagosians are behind us. Look, I'll be very blunt.
Your opinion?
Yes, my opinion.
Okay.
But I'll also be blunt about my opinion. there is this perceived sense of slavery in Lagos. That's the fact. Lagos has been controlled by one person for almost 24 years.
We're not here to indict anyone.
We're not indicting.
Okay.
I'm just telling you the political situation in Nigeria and the reason why I am coming to contest this election.
So what
is
are you...
to make sure we can change the things as we have on the ground today and move things from working for a few to working for majority of our people.
Which brings me to this question. What are you ready to offer Lagosians? Let's say you get the position.
Let's start from the experience.
Okay.
I've excelled in my private sector responsibilities. I've been MDs, I've been ADs in very major companies. In fact, when I was managing pension funds, I had $1 billion portfolio under my administration, and I've delivered successfully on that. After that, I've gone into government and I've performed my responsibilities in government in line with my oath of office. I didn't betray that oath. So with the kind of experience that I have now, I can tell you I'm the kind of person that the Lagos State people are looking forward to. What do we see in Lagos? Number one, everybody wakes up in the morning to go and queue in the traffic just to get to work. Sometimes they might spend 2 hours, 3 hours. Imagine you spend 3 hours in traffic going to work in the morning, and you spend another 3-4 hours going to work in the evening. Let's say 3. That's 6. That's 6 hours you spend in a day is how long it takes for someone to get to London from Lagos. And if you deduct that from the lifespan that you have, is about a quarter of your life that you are spending in traffic. That is not sustainable.
How do you intend to change that?
No. There's a master plan.
Okay.
In fact, I'm not a candidate that is coming to think of everything. I'm a candidate that has been part of the government before now, and I know all the plans that we have, and we implemented them faithfully and successfully. But our administration was cut short. We were not allowed the second term. So now I will go back to that plan. I will expand it in view of the dynamic changes that has been happening in the system. And we'll make sure that we can deliver on security. That's the first. Look, that's the first job of government. The security of lives, security of properties. From security, you must move to energy, because there cannot be development if there is no energy. And when I talk about energy, I'm talking about electricity, I'm talking about petroleum products, I'm talking about gas, I'm talking about renewables. And you know why I can say this? Because I was commissioner for energy myself for 3.5 years. And everything about modern society and development sits on energy. So if you don't get your security right, you don't get your energy policies right, you don't have the foundation. And I think that's part of the problems we're having in Nigeria, and we are going to make sure that from Lagos, we start to get these things right, and it will cascade all the way to Nigeria.
Beyond these two keys?
Beyond these two, we go to infrastructure. But there's a fourth one that is also very important, the human capital development and empowerment. Look, I wake up in the morning in Lagos, I see able-bodied men and women cluster in groups of 5, in groups of 10, in front of their houses, on the street, not doing anything. And I didn't need to go far. As I'm entering my office in the morning, the building opposite my office, I'll see about 10 or 12 people there. It's just discuss. There's nothing to do. So we must empower the human capital and make sure that they have access to the resources that will enable them to be productive, to contribute to the economy. Because if a man or a woman wakes up in the morning and there is no work, there is no money, honestly, their dignity is in question. But I tell you something, because I'm a trained economist from the University of Lagos, I know that what that thing they call economy, GDP, does not drop from the sky, and it will not drop from the sky. The economy and the GDP comes from the activities of human beings. Yes. So if those activities are not happening, like transporting yourself from one point to the other, like building houses, like doing one job or the other, you will not have that GDP. So how do you make the human capital to create that incremental GDP? you must put resources in their hands. And we are going to do massive empowerment program in this Nigeria, the one that has not been seen before. So with these 5 programs, I'm sure I'll change the trajectory of Lagos, and Lagos cannot be in a position to compete with international capitals like Cairo, like Dubai, like Johannesburg. Look, Lagos is not to be viewed from the prism of a state. Lagos is like a country. And any governor that does not have the mindset that this Lagos is not a state, it's a country within a country, then that governor is not ready.
All right, very interesting. It will also interest our viewer to know, as Nigerians, particularly Lagosians, in view of your laudable plans you have for Lagos, they will ask a question of how much support you have among the delegates as we go into this process.
We have majority of delegates in our column. The delegates are with us, the majority of them. Yes, the status quo, they have some, but we have most of them.
What about with the Governor Advisory Council?
I don't recognize them.
Why?
Because I believe they are not relevant to what we are doing.
So you're strictly with the AMCO?
And with AMCO, I'm with the APC. The Governor's Advisory Council is not provided for in the constitution of the APC, and it has no role in APC.
So what is the position of the AMCO in the forthcoming primaries?
Ours is to participate in the congresses, participate in the primary, win the general election, and form the government. And then we use that government to work for the people.
Are you still getting more? Are you still strategizing? Because primaries are just around the corner.
Look, we've done all that. Look, we've been working for 3 years, 4 years.
Okay.
Anybody that's strategizing now is not ready for this battle. Look, it's going to be a very tough battle.
We know.
Because I know that a lot of interest is involved. A lot of money is involved. A lot of power and influence is involved.
Good.
So that tough battle requires a tough leader to lead it. And I've made myself available to lead that battle. Look, whatever the consequences, I'm ready for it. But we will win. I can assure you of that. The people will win, and I will lead them.
So you see, yes, wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
But you know, how strategic is AMCO politically before this time, in view of the political culture of Lagos State? How strategic is AMCO? What is it that is identified with AMCO before now?
Before now, AMCO was one of the major platforms that, worked for Governor Ambode's emergence in 2015. So AMCO is not a new group. AMCO has been there since 2014, and we continue to strengthen it and to organize it, because we know a day like this will come. Because the people are yearning for change, is palpable. The responsibility we have is to make that change happen. And take the power and resources of the people from the few that have cornered it and return it back to the people.
Okay, AMCO back then couldn't secure the re-election of Governor Ambode.
There was no playing field at that time.
So now, what are you putting in place?
There was no playing field with respect to the leadership of the party at the national level at that time.
Okay.
So the party of 2019 is not the same party of 2020.
Okay, now what do you think has changed now, and how hopeful
what
are
has
you
changed
for it?
is that the President Muhammadu Buhari, has put a leadership at the national level, both the neck of the party and the National Working Committee. You know, we had the convention recently.
Yes.
With that convention, it's a new dawn. We are confident there is going to be a new playing field in Lagos and in all over Nigeria. Let me not talk about other states. I'm sure of Lagos. Look, what happened in 2018 when Governor Ambode was coming back for second term was a travesty of justice. It should never have happened. There was no primary election. I was part of the process, I know. But let's leave that for another day. So what we are saying now is that because of the new leadership and the directives of President Muhammadu Buhari, we are going into this primary election confident that we will have a level playing field and we will win with that level playing field. Why we couldn't win the last time was because there was no level playing field.
And why are we not seeing the former Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode visible in the political process?
When you hear about AMCO, that's visibility.
Him in person.
AMCO is him.
We know.
So what does he want?
Okay, he's working behind the scene. Well,
he's the one organizing everything.
Okay.
I'm leading the team, but it's his organization. It's a platform that we are using to help the people of Lagos. That time is now.
You know, you said something about the convention and what the president wants for the new phase of the All Progressives Congress, a level playing ground.
Yeah.
And there was something that stood out at the convention, the APC convention, unity of purpose, which we saw at the final result, consensus. Are we likely to see possibility of that coming out
in Lagos?
Yes. That's going to be tough, right? But I want you to tell us if it's going to be easy or tough, because you're all in the party. Yes, everybody has an interest, but
let me put it this way.
Okay.
Consensus is a derivative of a process. It's the outcome of a process. It's not a mode of election in itself. You can have direct primary and consensus might happen. You might have indirect and consensus may happen. We want the consensus, but to the extent that we will emerge. We are not going to entertain any consensus that will sustain the status quo in Lagos. No, we are not for that. Because the people of Lagos have rejected the status quo, and they will demonstrate that. They will demonstrate that during the elections. You watch, wait and see. So, for us, if we do a consensus that gives the leadership to the AMCO candidates, it's a good consensus. But if it's a consensus that gives the leadership to the candidates of the status quo, that consensus is not a consensus of the people who will reject it.
Mr. Wale.
Yes.
AMCO, will one be right to say AMCO is trying to kind of inculcate the culture of a term of 4-year tenure for governors of Lagos in view of what happened in 2018, 2019? With this struggle now that it's like for you are there to challenge an incumbent who is serving his first tenure and he will soon run off. Is AMCO of that opinion that, look, since Ambode couldn't go for second term, whoever is there now should not also make a second term, so that in case you two are there as the governor and other people come. So are you looking the direction of making it a culture of 4-year single term for Lagos governors?
No, that will not be correct. Let me put it this way. All of us are under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I was going to say that.
A governor is entitled to 1 term, renewable for another second term. So, to that extent, any governor that can win the primary election for a second term, we have the opportunity to do the second term. That's why we are not saying Governor Sanwo-Olu should not come and contest in the primary election. He should come. We will also be there. If we win, we'll do our own term. If he wins, he'll do his second term. But we will do everything to make sure he does not win, because it is not in the interest of the people.
The way you said it so confidently that you're going to do everything possible. It depends on...
Let me say this. Delegates or no delegates. Look, you are putting politics and you are putting political parties ahead of the people. Let's not make that mistake. The people of Lagos, in their majority, look, we've been on the field, we've taken this data. I'm not talking out of context.
The people, mind you, the people are not going to be majority.
No problem.
Will not be at the primaries.
That is for our job as AMCO.
And that is where a flag bearer.
That's what I'm saying. As I'm speaking to you now, I'm talking to you with respect to AMCO, because it's intra-party. We're all in the same party. So AMCO will win, and AMCO will go ahead to challenge the PDP or any other party that comes along. That is the way it is. Look, any governor that can do 2 terms, we don't have a problem, as long as you have taken the power from the people. What we don't want is anything that goes beyond the 2 terms stipulated in the Constitution on one hand, and anything that allows a person who has served either 1 term or 2 terms and has gone to his house and has taken the power with him to his house and is now ruling through proxies, through the back door, and is spending 20-24 years doing that, we must destroy that kind of democracy. It's not working for our people.
Yes, still going towards that direction. The scenario you just created now. You see, because of what happened in 2018, it shows clearly that in Lagos, the power of incumbency might not play out.
Might not play out.
Yes, but the power of how do I put it?
I know the word
power
you don't want to
yes,
use.
the power of
I will help you, Godfather.
the power of Godfatherism.
That's the word he's trying to avoid.
So now, how is AMCO
Yes.
planning to deal with this?
Because you said we should mark
Yes.
your words,
Yes.
and everything will be done
So assuming-
possible to
yes.
ensure that
Now,
the incumbent does not win the primary.
Yes.
I said, mark my word, the people will remove the incumbent. We know that. We've been talking to the people. Look, I'm not the only one that votes.
But he was endorsed.
By who?
No, Mr. Wale, let's
Go
make
ahead.
it clear. Let's make it
just
clear.
hear
Go
you.
ahead.
Two things make people make Lagos governors. The last time we thought that would work out, it did not work out. That is the power of incumbency as a governor. You have all it takes. It did not work out for a particular governor then, back in 2018. But one thing worked out for another person, Godfatherism. Now, this time around, you are working towards success. And you are so confident about it now. So now, assuming the power of incumbency also failed somebody, like it failed somebody in the past, how do you now deal with the power of Godfatherism, which is in favor of somebody presently?
Who told you the power of Godfatherism will not fail?
Because
wait.
Let him
Who told
answer,
you
Salihu.
the power of Godfatherism will not fail the present governor? Why are you so
he has
sure
been
of that?
endorsed.
Endorsed by who?
Okay, so tell us why the power
Endorsed
of
by
Godfatherism.
endorsed by an organ that is unknown to the party.
Tell us why that will fail. You may have an idea,
I'm not a member of their group. Look, let me tell you something.
but you're confident it will fail.
It will fail, and it will also fail during the general election. You don't know what
Why?
people of Lagos are looking forward to. You'll be shocked when all these things start to happen. But let's leave it at that. I tell you something. The endorsement is by a group that has the right under the law and has the right as a group within the party, right, to promote a candidate of his own choice that will promote his own interests. It's not the same as the interest of the people. The interest of the people will be determined eventually when we go for the general election. That's when the people will make that determination. But now, AMCO has the right to say, Ruth is going to be our own candidate because we are an interest group. Okay. We are GAC, so we will promote our own interests as GAC. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And AMCO will also say, Wale Oluwo is our own candidate who will protect our interests. So, during the general election, we will now see whose interest aligns with the interest of the people and whose interest does not. And then the people will choose. That's the process.
So a lot of Lagosians will be asking, what makes you think with so much confidence? You've talked about your background,
Yes.
where you're coming from,
Yes.
and your master plan of how you want to strategize and ensure you give Lagosians a better life.
Let me tell you why I'm confident. Because the voice of the people is the voice of God. We have the people on our side. Anybody that has God and has the people, honestly, you'll win. Except you doubt that formula. That's democracy. Simplista.
Now, these areas you've mentioned, you talked about human capital development,
Yeah.
energy, security, infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yes, security also.
Security is number one.
Number one, yes. These are usually, you know, what should I call it now? These are key points most politicians come out with and say, okay, yes, this is what I'm going to do. These are areas that are very obvious that people always use to garner support for what they want to do. Why will yours be different? Because we've been hearing all of that, and I'm sure Lagosians have been hearing that before.
Let me put it this way. With respect to Lagos, I don't think we've been having it bad with respect to security. Starting from Governor Fashola's era, we've been making significant investment in security, infrastructure, welfare of the officers, logistics and everything they will use. We have the major ingredients that will make Lagos secure, starting from taking over the responsibility of ensuring the welfare of officers are well taken care of, making sure that we provide them with insurance in case of any fatality in the course of operations, making sure that we buy vehicles for them. So all those things. And then we have emergency number, 3-digit emergency number that you can call anytime. And then there'll be a response within 3 to 5 minutes to help you out. So Lagos has not been doing badly in terms of security from Governor Fashola. But with this present regime, I've seen that the ball has been dropped, and that exposes our people to significant danger. When we come back to government, we'll reinforce that process and improve on it. So we are going to do it differently, starting from where we stopped and then expanding it, applying technology, making sure we can have different layers, and making sure the response time will be very fast, 2-3 minutes. As you call that emergency number, help must be at your side within minutes. That's
I know
what
Gwanara want to come in there. You've only talked about security, but you mentioned other key areas.
Yes. I say security first, energy next. Look, I want to increase the quantum of electricity in Lagos, because we cannot be a globally competitive city if we don't have electricity.
And as the center of excellence.
Absolutely. So for me, it's a work I've done for over 3 years. I secured some federal approvals. I was able to put the law in place with the support of Governor Ambode. The program was embedded power program to generate up to 1,000 megawatts. I tell you something, for the whole of Nigeria, some maybe like 5,000 megawatts for the whole of Nigeria. Now, even the 1,000 megawatts I planned during the Ambode administration will still not be enough for Lagos. But it's a good starting point, because power keeps increasing in demand. As you give people power, they will ask for more power, because people now becomes productive. They want to produce more. They want to do a lot of the artisan work.
And if we look at the ratio of the population in Lagos.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the point I'm making. So for us, we are going to deliberately work with the federal authorities, that is the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, to make sure we can put new power plants in about 3 to 4 different locations in Lagos.
What about infrastructure?
In Badagry, in Ikorodu, and probably in Ipechileki. Infrastructure, look, the first deficiency in infrastructure in Lagos is transportation. Everybody, look, if you are in a city and you cannot move from one point to the other based on a predictable time, then you don't have a city that's running.
What's going to be different?
What's going to be different is very simple. So what can achieve movement of goods and services? I call it GPS. Movement of goods, people, and services. That's the characterization of GPS. There must be fast-track GPS that you can wake up in the morning and say, I want to go to Badagry this morning. I live there, I go to Ekpe, I live there, I go to this. In the advanced society, they were able to achieve that through the railway system. On railway, there is no traffic. So you can plan your day, you can say, I want to do 20 things, I want to visit 20 locations, and you will be right on target.
So you bring back the tracks?
I won't bring back the railway because it's very expensive.
So what are you going to do?
What I'm going to do is that I will expand all the major roads in Lagos so that we can create a BRT lane on almost all the major roads. Look, if you don't have a railway, then you must have a BRT system that can move people from one point to the other without traffic. It's only traffic you want to eliminate.
Sorry to hold your thoughts there, because you talk about expansion of roads. There may be consequences to the expansion of roads.
Like what?
A lot of people may be affected, talking about if you have to expand, we've seen that happen in other parts of the country, you have to demolish places.
Yes,
now
yes,
you're
yes.
going to leave a lot
It's
of
not
people.
a problem.
Okay.
It's not a problem. You know why?
Are you putting that into
I
consideration?
don't even need to.
Okay.
We have tremendous experience in handling that.
Okay.
Since Minister Fashola's regime, we must have demolished thousands of houses, and the people are ready for those demolitions because the compensation is good, the engagement is good, the level of interaction to see, look, this is for the public good, and even when we demolish your house, you are in the position to go and get a better house than the one we demolished. It's what we've been doing for decades, and nothing will stop it this time around. But the objective is simple. People and goods must move from point A to point B without traffic. And because we don't have the resources for railway, the BRT will do that. And before I stop, look, when we were in government, that's why we made a plan to bring in 5,000 buses, out of which the first batch was 820. That's what is helping Lagos today. I don't know whether they have increased the number, but when we come, we go back to that 5,000 and probably go to 10,000. The day people can move from one point to the other, you have solved the major problem in Lagos.
Gwanara?
Yes. Mr. Wale,
Yeah.
very laudable initiative and ideas you have for Lagos.
Yes.
Lagos is one of, if not first, the first state to have to develop a master plan in Nigeria. And now from your submission, you've been part of a government and a government before. It seems there is a vacuum. Is there what happened to the succession plan of Lagos in terms of development? Is there any vacuum since the previous administration with what we are experiencing now in Lagos?
Absolutely.
So now, what, because one will wonder, now you've done that before, and if you come, you will do this. What happened? Has there not been improvement over what has been done before now?
By the president?
Yes.
There has been improvement, but it is not significant. Look, if he's been doing very well, and he's been performing, and moving in the direction that Governor Fashola started, that we improved upon, if he is improving on it, honestly, this noise I'm making in Lagos, nobody will listen to me. That is the reason why AMPO is saying it's time for this man to go. And that structure that is sustaining him there has to be removed so that the people can now be the sovereign, and the governor can be the symbol of their sovereignty. The governor must not be under anybody. So that's my quarrel with that GSA. The governor is the symbol of sovereignty of the people, and he must never be under anybody. He must be answerable to the House of Assembly and the people. But what you have in Lagos is governors are powerless. Their powers have been stolen by all sorts of different sundry organizations unknown to the constitution of the party.
So are you giving Lagosians your word? Because
that's what
you just talked about, the problem of continuity from the different administration, which is also affecting the present administration. Continuity. Are you also
continuity in terms of projects?
In terms of projects, in terms
we are saying the man is not doing enough projects.
But you admitted earlier that there's been improvement from what he asked.
I'm even repeating it. I say not enough projects.
Okay.
I know the projects government has the capacity and funding to do, and I'm seeing what he's doing.
So based on the improved ones,
yes,
will you pick up
what?
Pick up the projects based on the
that
improved ones that you've seen.
Okay, that
let's say you get the mantle of leadership. Yes. Are you going to start afresh? Yes.
No.
Because we have that problem, so to say.
We don't have it in Lagos.
Okay.
Inconsistency in policy.
Yes, consistency in projects. You come in and then you push that aside and start yours.
See. Let me put it this way. There is no Fashola's project, Ambode's project, or Sanwo-Olu's project. It's Lagos State project.
Yes.
Because somebody must be the owner of the money that's being used to execute projects. Yes. It's the people.
Yes.
So to that extent, it's the people's project. I would like now be elected by the people, and their project is there, or their projects are there, and I say I'm abandoning it because it's only the owner of the project. Did he bring the project from his house?
I want to hear it from you.
Every project must be continued as long as it's government project. The only thing we will do is that if it's been ill conceived or being haphazardly implemented, then we make the adjustment. But it's the money of the people. We must continue it.
It's okay now. Mr. Wale,
Yes,
very
sir.
interesting. Let's now take you out of Lagos and place you in the national political scene.
I'm not contesting for any national.
Yes, as a stakeholder.
Okay.
You know, your party is right now, how do I even describe it? APC, as the governing party, is in a stage now of zoning a presidential candidate to either south or north, which is still a contentious issue. Recently, stakeholders of the party met in Lagos and took a position. I don't know how.
Stakeholders from where? Southwest?
Southwest.
Yeah, mostly the presidential aspirants.
Okay.
Now, you know, you, AMCO, must belong to a particular group because
You belong to the party.
Yeah, you belong to the party. You belong
We're
to the
a group
party,
on
yes.
our own. We don't have
And the
to belong
success
to
of
any group.
yes, the success of the party in Nigeria, not in Lagos alone, is your success as well.
Yes.
So now, what is your take? Your take about the party's position in terms of zoning?
You see, you must understand one thing first. In a party, there must be leadership. The leader of the party today is President Muhammadu Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari is going to participate in the process of selecting his own successor. It's not my prerogative to say this is the person he wants and this is the person he does not want. But in case, if he has a choice of a candidate that should succeed him, he's going to make that known to people who should know, and he's going to submit that candidate to the internal democratic process of the party. When that candidate emerges, the candidate becomes the candidate of the party. So for us, we are with President Buhari.
But President has said it a couple of times. He's just going to hand over to who Nigerians vote for.
Absolutely.
He's not going to
What
say
the
this is
president
who
has
he's...
said.
And in this case, it starts with the delegates deciding who the
Deciding
candidate
who.
of the party is. So that means
That's the level
yes.
playing ground
We
he
are,
has
not, we
created.
are not saying different things.
Okay.
I said if he has a preferred person, it's possible he may not have, but whether he has or he does not have, if he has, he must surrender it to the process, the internal democracy of the party, because he's the leader of the party. There can't be two leaders in a party. So the internal process, if they say yes, that's the person, then that becomes the candidate of the party, and all of us will rally around and work for that candidate's success. That's the way it works.
What is your opinion? You know now the battle will start from the primaries.
Yes.
You're contending an opponent
Correct.
in the same, going for the same position. And we talk about unity of purpose. We talk about frictions here and there when it comes to internal democracy. From your perspective, your opinion, what would you not want to see play out when we're talking standing as one, without frictions when it comes to internal democracy, so there is no division
No, there will be
in
friction.
the party?
See, if you say there will be no friction, then it means you don't understand the essence of democracy itself. But I made a point earlier. I said we are not enemies, we are adversaries. So there must be division. But that division, after the candidate of the party has emerged, there must be reconciliation to bring everybody together.
That's where I'm headed.
No, we are for peace.
Okay.
What we want for this primary election is that, or the primaries, number one, we want peaceful primaries, non-violent, very orderly, that we make sure that the members of the party are given the power to select their flag bearers. That's where we stand. And we're going to do everything possible to achieve that. But anybody that, because we know that's what the party has directed, but we also want to say that anybody that will not do these things, will report them to the appropriate authorities so that they can be punished. But for us, we'll play by the rules.
So now, what's your impression about many people coming out to be aspiring for the presidency.
It's part of democracy. Because everybody, look, they can be 1,000. The Constitution guarantees anybody the right to contest, to vote and be voted for. So they're expressing their democratic rights. But the party, through its own mechanism, will now pick the flag bearer. And we expect everybody to rally around that flag bearer so that the party can win at the national election.
Is it true that the leader of AMCO is interested too?
He can make that determination and he will let people know. I'm not in his mind.
Okay.
I'm focused on my own election.
I know it's too early to ask this when the primaries have not been done. Do you have, can you share with Nigerians who, if that is if you're marched as the flag bearer, I know you know what I want to
by
ask.
God's grace.
You know what I want to ask, your running mate.
No, we have not reached that stage.
I know, I said it's too early to ask that,
yeah, it's too
but
early.
you have
Yeah, she's just being gender sensitive. I know why she's asking that question. Let me allow you to respond to her.
You have persons in mind, and yes, I'm being gender sensitive.
See, you don't go to the primaries.
Considering a woman, you may not mention.
No, see.
Why? The way you said the no, like it's not an option.
No. Look, it's just like coming here now and discussing the general election. You see, it's in stages. It's in stages. We had the primary election.
You're a man of faith. You've been speaking with faith since the beginning of this conversation. So
I'm not running away from this, but I tell you something.
Okay.
I am not the party. It will be very presumptuous and inappropriate for me to say this is the kind of running mate I'm looking for. Look, we are a group. There is the other group too. And if our own candidate, which is Walulu, emerges, the other group will join us. It's going to be a joint decision by everybody. But one thing is sure, sensitivity to
the women
and to the youths will play a major role in determining who the running mates will be.
Which brings me, because we're getting close to the end of this conversation.
No problem.
What would be, because since you've mentioned your key areas, you didn't mention, just now you mentioned the women and the youths, but based on the party, what would you do for women and youths in the state?
Look, our empowerment scheme, the youths have been the most disadvantaged in the scheme of things. That's number one. With respect to jobs, with respect to seeing a bright future, they are concerned. That's why a lot of them wants to leave Nigeria. And as they leave Nigeria, we are depleting capacity that should help us, that will help us to develop Nigeria. So for the youth, I think the era of white-collar jobs for everybody is over. People must now be creative. You must do business, you must do creative stuff. We will make money available for the youths. Look, if we do an empowerment program, you can be sure that at least 50% of the beneficiaries will deliberately be the youths. And everything we are talking about here today, we're talking about building tomorrow. They are the ones that will be there in the tomorrow. So they are going to play a major role in the government. If I'm made the governor of Lagos State, I can tell you the composition of youth and women in the cabinet will be massive.
Gwanara, your question should be brief. We don't have much time.
Yes, we don't have much time. Yes, we are running over. And you know, interestingly, we in the political scene, we just interesting. If I go to Lagos and Mr. Wale, you know, what we want to, like anywhere you are, from the ward, polling unit level, ward, up to the local government, and even your state in general, what identity, you know, the party has just concluded its congresses from unit, ward, local government, and up to state level. Okay. What we want to, you know, as we conclude, your presence, the presence of AMCO, the role you played, how much are you on ground among these delegates?
We are very much on ground. We participated in the congresses, but you see something, there's going to be congresses Monday and Tuesday to pick those who will vote at the primary election. So even those ones that they purportedly have, we are still contesting all those things.
The ones that were held? They
were held in an inappropriate manner, in violation of the party's constitution, because we said it will be consensus. And how can you have a consensus? You are a group, I'm a group, she's a group. Then we have a consensus. Because you are the one having the biro, you now wrote the names of all your own people to occupy 100% of the position. That is nonsense.
Okay, we have to
Absolute nonsense.
get your final word at this time.
Yes.
Tell Lagosians
Yeah.
why they should vote for Mr. Wale.
Okay, Lagosians should
Briefly.
vote. Lagosians should vote for me for 3 reasons. 1, their money is safe with me. I've been in government for 3.5 years. I did not touch 10 kobo of government money. And there's a reason for that. Because I knew a day like this will come when the people will need people they can trust with money. Look, the money of government should be like the money you put in your bank. There must be sanctity and there must be accountability. That's number 1. Number 2, the people want change. I'm that change agent. And number 3, the people want better lives for themselves. I will make that available, no matter the costs.
All right, Oluwo Olawale Wasiu, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
We hope your dream come true.
By God's grace,
Okay.
it's going to.
Thank you very much for your
Thanks.
time on platform. Gwanera, thank you so much for your time on platform.
Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure to always be on this platform.
All right. We have been looking at Lagos politics and the, APC and the challenge to retain power. One of the contender here, Mr. Olawale, believes that he has what it takes to be the flag bearer of the APC in Lagos State. That's platform, because you will decide at the end of the day. I'm Ruth Aguele.